A British research vessel lowered a network of synchronized instruments into one of the most feared stretches of ocean on Earth, a region that has captured human imagination for decades, a place where ships have vanished, aircraft have disappeared, and explanations have never seemed quite enough. The Bermuda Triangle. A loosely defined area of the Atlantic Ocean stretching between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, a region once labeled the Devil's Triangle by newspapers in the mid-20th century, a place where mystery became legend, and legend became something far more powerful than fact. But when oceanographers analyzed the data returned from those deep-sea probes, when they mapped the currents, measured the forces, and reconstructed the conditions beneath the surface, what they found was not supernatural. It was something far more unsettling, something far more real, and something that has been hiding in plain sight for centuries. Because what scientists uncovered does not just explain the disappearances. It reveals a system so violent, so unpredictable, and so perfectly positioned to deceive human perception that it created one of the greatest maritime myths in history. And yet, at the exact same time, in the exact same waters, something extraordinary has been thriving. An ecosystem so rich, so complex, that it forces scientists to rethink what this region truly is. Not a graveyard, but something far more important. Before we break down what is really happening inside the Bermuda Triangle, what causes ships to vanish without warning, and why the same forces are sustaining one of the most unique marine environments on Earth, take a moment to subscribe to Discovery Vault, because what you are about to hear is not speculation. It is evidence, and it changes everything. To understand the mystery, you first need to understand the location. The Bermuda Triangle sits at one of the most unstable intersections in the Atlantic Ocean. This is where multiple powerful systems collide. The warm Gulf Stream moves north at high velocity. Cold currents descend from the North Atlantic. Weather systems form in the Caribbean and sweep upward. Deep ocean trenches drop thousands of meters below relatively shallow reefs. This is not a calm stretch of ocean. It is a convergence zone, a place where energy builds, overlaps, and transforms into something far more dangerous than any single force on its own. Oceanographers studying the region deployed a series of synchronized probes designed to move together through the water column, rising and falling in unison, capturing real-time data about currents, pressure, and turbulence. What they found was something navigation systems struggle to predict: massive underwater vortices, shifting currents that change direction and intensity within hours, invisible forces capable of altering a vessel's course without any visible warning at the surface. But even that wasn't the most dangerous discovery. Because when researchers began analyzing historical ship disappearances alongside modern data, a pattern emerged, a pattern pointing to something far more destructive. Rogue waves. Not ordinary waves, not swells driven by storms. Instead, sudden walls of water that rise far beyond surrounding conditions, sometimes reaching heights of over 30 meters, appearing without warning, and collapsing just as quickly as they form. These waves do not follow predictable patterns. They do not move in sync with the wind, and they do not give ships time to react. When a rogue wave strikes, it can lift a vessel from both ends, leaving the center unsupported, placing immense stress on the structure, causing it to fracture within seconds. Larger ships, often thought to be safer, can actually be more vulnerable under these conditions. And when they break, they do not sink slowly. They disappear. No distress signal, no debris field, just gone. This explains something that has puzzled investigators for decades: how ships could vanish without a trace, how entire crews could disappear without sending a single signal. But the ocean holds more than just physical danger. Because beneath these waters lies another factor that has misled sailors for centuries: magnetic anomalies. These are geological formations, rich in iron, remnants of ancient volcanic activity, capable of distorting compass readings. Not dramatically, but enough. Enough to send a ship off course. Enough to create small errors that, over time, become fatal. Before GPS, before satellite navigation, a deviation of just a few degrees could mean the difference between safe passage and disaster. And in a region already dominated by storms, currents, and unpredictable conditions, that margin of error was often all it took. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn, because the same conditions that make this region dangerous have also created something remarkable. The Bermuda Triangle overlaps with the Sargasso Sea, a vast floating ecosystem unlike anything else on Earth, a sea without shores, defined not by land but by currents that circle and contain it. Within these currents, enormous mats of sargassum seaweed drift across the surface, forming dense, interconnected habitats that stretch for miles. From above, they appear as scattered patches, but beneath the surface they form something much more complex: a living structure, a floating rainforest. And what scientists discovered within this environment is staggering. Hundreds of species relying entirely on this ecosystem for survival, fish that spawn within its shelter, invertebrates that exist nowhere else, juvenile marine life using it as protection from predators in the open ocean, even species that travel thousands of kilometers across continents to reach this exact location. Eels from Europe and North America, navigating vast distances to reproduce here before returning to their origin rivers, completing life cycles that span decades. Predators follow: sharks, dolphins, larger fish, all drawn into a system that sustains itself through a delicate balance of movement, shelter, and nutrient exchange. And beneath it all, something even more fundamental is happening: microscopic life. Bacteria and phytoplankton play a critical role in the global carbon cycle. Organisms so small they are invisible to the naked eye, yet so abundant they contribute significantly to the oxygen we breathe. This region is not empty ocean. It is one of the most productive biological systems on the planet, and yet it exists in one of the most dangerous environments for human navigation. Which is why, for centuries, it was misunderstood. From the perspective of sailors, this was a place of loss. A place where ships vanished and explanations failed. But from the perspective of science, it is something entirely different. A system shaped by physics, driven by energy, and sustained by life. The mystery of the Bermuda Triangle was never about the unknown. It was about misinterpretation. Stories built on incomplete information, events taken out of context, and a natural tendency to search for extraordinary explanations when faced with complex realities. Modern investigations have shown that many of the most famous disappearances were exaggerated, misreported, or occurred under conditions that were anything but mysterious. Storms, navigation errors, mechanical failures, all contributing factors that, when combined with the region's natural volatility, created the illusion of something supernatural. But the truth is both simpler and more profound. Because the Bermuda Triangle is not a place where the laws of nature break down, it is a place where they operate at their most extreme, where multiple forces intersect in ways that amplify risk and conceal evidence, where danger exists not because of the unknown, but because of how complex the known truly is. And now, with that mystery largely solved, a new question emerges, not about what is happening there, but about what we are doing to it. Because the same currents that sustain this ecosystem are now trapping something else, Plastic. Waste. Pollution carried from across the Atlantic, accumulating within the same boundaries that once protected life. Microscopic fragments entering the food chain. Larger debris disrupting habitats that have existed for thousands of years. Human activity is moving faster than our understanding. And once again, the real story is not what we feared, but what we overlooked. We set out to solve a mystery, and in doing so, we discovered something far more valuable. A system that connects physics, biology, and survival in ways we are only beginning to understand. The Bermuda Triangle is no longer a legend. It is a warning, a reminder that the ocean does not need myths to be dangerous, and that some of the most important discoveries are hidden beneath the stories we choose to believe. The mystery has been solved, but the responsibility that comes with that knowledge is only just beginning. Stay tuned.